best ever. I'm the most brutal, the most vicious, and most ruthless champion.
And let me tell you, that was just a quick...
To fight, I could bang too. I don't care, man. I'll take one.
6 is it, and usually means some undisputed champion in 2 divisions.
Our leader got up. You got up.
Line them up, name them. I'm ready for what?
Embarrassingly. So for me...
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Division Kings Boxing. Like always, I want to give a big shout out and a big thank you to everyone who's just been keeping up with the channel, everyone who's been supporting. If you're a boxing fan or coming across my channel for the first time, leave a like, leave a comment, and subscribe. Just support the channel the best way you guys can. For today's video, we're going to be jumping into Errol Spence Jr. versus Terrence Bud Crawford. As you guys all know, Errol Spence did activate his rematch clause, and it seems like these contract agreements and this back and forth can never end between these two. As you guys all know, that they had fought in July, and it's already been a headache before the first fight even happened. And it seems like these two just cannot come to an agreement, even after calling each other and giving each other what they feel deserve. As you guys all know, that Errol Spence gave up a pretty big part to get this, a pretty big chunk of change to get this fight to happen. And it was more of who's the A side, who's the B side. As you guys all know, Errol Spence stated, well, you know what I mean, try to take that to the bank and see what happens. It's about who puts butts in seats, which I totally 100% agree with. And I felt like Spence obviously should have got I feel like he definitely should have got, and I believe he got just the more bigger of the split in that fight. As you guys all know, he held 3 of the belts in the 147-pound division. So... and Crawford had 1 belt. So I just believe that Spence was the bigger fighter at the time. And obviously just had more belts in that division. But you also do need Terrence Bud Crawford to say what you wanted to do. And what you want to do is become undisputed. Unfortunately, Errol Spence fell short. But I know that Spence gave up, like I said, a big chunk of change to make this fight happen. And to get Terrence Bud Crawford in the ring, it goes to as much as a coin flip on who was going to come out last. But the fight happened. Errol Spence came up short, and unfortunately, not really unfortunately, but Crawford now gets a decision of what he wants to do. It's no longer up to Errol Spence. And after Crawford won that fight, his career was already set and stoned and for the Hall of Fame, with or without Spence, I believe. But in this case, that Crawford went from here to pass Spence to even higher, of becoming the star of the 147-pound division and just a bigger star overall than what he already was. And I know a lot of people say that Crawford didn't fight nobody and Crawford's resume doesn't look good as Spence's resume. And like I said, Spence fell short due to him not being comfortable with his weight in the 147-pound division anymore. I feel like we all know he was there just way too long than what he needed to be. But he wanted to get Crawford in that ring, and he was the word. He kept his word to all of us, and he got that fight. He got that fight with Crawford. But unfortunately, now tables are turned. Crawford holds the belt. He's undisputed, and it is his choice to pick what weight division he wants to get that rematch. And if it's 147, it's 154. And if he's demanding more money for the 154-pound division for him to fight Errol Spence in that division, he is allowed to do that. He won the fight. And even if Spence did feel like he gave up a lot, and he worked with Terrence Crawford and he expected to work for Crawford to work with Spence after the rematch, and Crawford doesn't want to, and he wants to take things away from Spence and just be petty or whatever you guys want to call it, Crawford is allowed to do that. No matter what we say, no matter what we do, if we disagree with Crawford on what he's doing and how petty he wants to be, that's not up to us. That is up to Terrence Crawford. He won the fight. He was the better fighter, and it's unfortunate it's up to Crawford. Like, I don't think Spence should take the fight at 147. There's no use in draining your body that bad, and if it's going to be the same results or could possibly even worse just because you're very dehydrated, you're you don't feel comfortable as you used to when you first stepped in that division, I don't think you should take the fight. There's no reason to beat yourself up on making the weight and not going in there as comfortable and as healthy as you should be. Do I think that Crawford is doing this to Earl Spence on purpose? I believe he's doing it to just, maybe there's some things that we didn't know. Like, I didn't really like Earl Spence's attitude, saying, hey, you should thank me for this fight when they had their face off, and Crawford said, hey, we should thank each other. But Earl Spence made it seem like Crawford needed him. I liked how Crawford said we should thank each other because they needed each other. It takes two to fight. But I believe Spence was the bigger fighter, the more popular fighter, and that he was the one at that moment to put more butts in seats and make more sales than Terrence Crawford. But like I said, tables have turned now, and it's up to Terrence Crawford on what he wants to do. And I believe that now Crawford should get more of the bigger of the gate and the split of what they're doing. And like I said, it's just entirely up to Terrence Crawford now, man. I get that Spence is probably frustrated. His team is frustrated about what Crawford's doing. But we don't know how much of a problem negotiations that Earl Spence might have given Terrence Crawford. I know Terrence Crawford did ask for a lot, and I believe he deserved that in the first fight, but not deserving over Spence. But tables have unfortunately turned. Terrence Crawford did win, and we're just going to have to wait and see what Earl Spence decides to do and what weight they're going to fight at. If Earl Spence is going to give up more of his side of the money to make the 154 pounds and maybe have the tables switch again if Spence could pull this off at 154, just depend on how healthy he feels at 154. So we're just going to have to wait and see what Earl Spence decides to do and what Crawford decides what else he wants. And we're going to have to wait until this rematch happens and just kind of see what happens and what goes from here. A big thank you to everyone who's been watching my channel, who's been supporting. Leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think about this situation with Spence and Crawford. Like I said, it's been a headache before even this first fight, and it's even getting more complicated with these two down the line. Is the fight even worth happening at 147 pounds for Spence? Should he take that risk? Should he move on and maybe fight Keith Thurman and make a little bit less of a bag and get more money just between them two? Let me know what you guys think on that situation, or if you guys even want to see a rematch in general. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. I'm out.